Random House Audio presents Mr. Mo's Traveling Couch by Dai Sijie. Translated from the French by Ina Rilke. Read for you by B.D. Wong. Part 1. Trajectory of the Spirit of Chivalry. Chapter 1. A Disciple of Freud. The metal chain sheathed in transparent pink plastic is reflected, like a gleaming snake, in the window of the railway carriage, beyond which the signals fade to pinpoints of emerald and ruby before being swallowed up in the mist of a sultry night in July. Only a short while ago, in the squalid restaurant of a little station near the Yellow Mountain, this same chain had been looped around the leg of a fake mahogany table and the retractable chrome-plated handle of a pale blue Delsey suitcase on wheels, belonging to one Mr. Mo, a Chinese-born apprentice in psychoanalysis, recently returned from France. For a man so bereft of charm and good looks, thin and scrawny, a scant 5'3", with an unruly shock of hair and bulging eyes slightly squinty behind thick lenses, Mr. Mo moves with surprising assurance. He takes off his French-made shoes, revealing red socks, the left one with a hole through which pokes a bony toe, pale as skimmed milk, then climbs up on the wooden seat, a sort of banquette deprived of padding, to stow his Delsey on the luggage rack. He attaches the chain by passing the hoop of a small padlock through the links on either end, and rises up on tiptoe to confirm that the lock is secure. Having settled on the bench, he stashes his shoes under the seat, dons a pair of white flip-flops, wipes his glasses, and, lighting a small cigar, uncaps his pen and gets to work. That is to say, he begins noting down dreams in a school exercise book purchased in France. This discipline being part of his self-imposed training as a psychoanalyst. Hardly has the train gathered speed when the hard-seat carriage, the only one for which tickets were still available, is bustling with peasant women carrying large baskets and bamboo panniers, plying their modest trade between stations, lurching up and down the aisles, some with hard-boiled eggs and sweet dumplings, others with fruit, cigarettes, cans of cola, Chinese mineral water, and even bottles of Evian. Uniformed railway staff work their way down the crowded carriage, pushing trolleys laden with spicy duck's feet, peppered spare ribs, newspapers, and scandal sheets. An urchin of no more than 10 is sitting on the floor, vigorously applying polish to the stiletto heel of a woman of some mystery, remarkable on this night train for her oversized dark blue sunglasses. No one notices Mr. Mo, or the maniacal attention he accords his Delsey 2000, but once he becomes engrossed in his writing, he is oblivious to the world. Traveling on a day train a few days ago, likewise in a carriage with hard seats, he had just completed his daily entries with a resounding quote from Lacan, when looking up he observed a trio of passengers so intrigued by his security measures that they had mounted the bench for a better look. They were gesturing dramatically in double time, as in a silent movie. Tonight his right-hand neighbor, on the 3-seater bench, dapper 50-year-old with sagging shoulders and a long, swarthy face, keeps glancing at the exercise book, covertly at first, but then quite brazenly. "Mr. Four-Eyes," he inquires in a tone more obsequious than his rude address would imply, "is that English you're writing? Then, may I trouble you for some advice? My son, a secondary school pupil, is utterly hopeless at English." "By all means," Mo replies, with a serious air, none in the least offended by the moniker. "Let me tell you about Voltaire, a French 18th century philosopher. One day, Boswell asked him, 'Do you speak English?' And Voltaire replied, 'Speaking English requires placing the tip of the tongue against the front teeth. Me? I am too old for that. I have no teeth left. Do you follow?' He was referring to the way the th is pronounced. The same goes for me. My teeth aren't long enough for the language of globalization, although there are certain English writers whom I revere, and also 1 or 2 Americans. However, what I am writing, sir, is French." Initially awed by this reply, his neighbor quickly composes himself and fixes Mo with a look of profound loathing. Like all workers of the revolutionary period, he can't abide those whose learning surpasses his own, and who, by virtue of superior knowledge, symbolize enormous power. Thinking to give Mo a lesson in modesty, He draws a game of Chinese checkers from his bag and invites him to play. "So sorry," says Mo, in all earnestness. "I don't play. But I do know exactly how the game originated. I know where it came from, and when it was invented." Now, completely nonplussed, the man asks, before settling down to sleep, "Is it true that you are writing in French?" "Indeed, it is." "Ah, French," he intones several times, his words echoing in the silence of the night train, the tone of satisfied comprehension belying the complete bewilderment on the face of this solid family man. For the past 11 years, Mo has been living in Paris, a 7th-floor flat, that is to say, a converted maid's room, a walk-up with a red carpet on the stairs stopping at the 6th floor, a damp place with cracks all over the ceiling and the walls. He spends every night from 11 till 6 in the morning noting down dreams, first his own, then those of others too. He composes his notes in French, using a Larousse dictionary to check each word he is unsure of. And how many exercise books he has filled already. He keeps them all in shoeboxes secured with rubber bands, stacked on a metal étagère, dust-covered boxes like those in which the French invariably keep their utility bills, pay stubs, tax forms, bank statements, insurance policies, schedules of installment plan payments, and builder's receipts. In other words, the type of boxes that contain the records of a lifetime. He himself has just turned 40, the age of lucidity, according to the old sage Confucius. In the decades since his arrival in Paris in 1989, Mo had been recording these dreams in a French mind painstakingly from Larousse, when suddenly he found himself changed no less than his wire-framed spectacles, like those of the last emperor in Bertolucci's film, stained with yellow grease, clouded with sweat, and so twisted that they no longer fit in any spectacle case. "I wonder if my head has changed shape too," he noted in his exercise book after the Chinese New Year celebrations of the year 2000. That day, tying an apron around his waist and rolling up his sleeves, he resolved to tidy his garret. He was doing the dishes, which had been stacked in the sink for days, such a bad bachelor's habit, a solemn mass jutting iceberg-like from the soapy surface, when his glasses slipped from his nose, plop, into the murky water, on which floated tea leaves and food scraps, above the reefs of crockery. He groped for them blindly under the suds, fishing out chopsticks, rusty saucepans encrusted with rice, teacups, a glass ashtray, rinds of sugar melon and watermelon, moldy bowls, chipped plates, spoons, and a couple of forks so greasy they slipped from his grasp and clattered to the floor. At last he found his spectacles. He carefully wiped off the suds and polished the lenses before holding them up for inspection. There were fine new scratches among the old ones, and the sides, already bent, were now a sculpture twisted beyond recognition. But all in all, they were fine. Tonight, as this Chinese train pursues its inexorable journey, neither the hardness of the seat nor the press of his fellow passengers seems to bother him, nor is he distracted by the alluring passenger in oversized sunglasses, a showbiz wannabe traveling incognito, perhaps, sitting by the opposite window beside a young couple and across from 3 elderly women. She's graciously tilting her head in his direction while resting her elbow on the folding table. But no, indeed. Neither train nor intriguing stranger can offer our Mr. Mo such transport as he finds this moment in words and writing, the language of a distant land, and especially of his dreams, which he records and analyzes with professional rigor and zeal, not to say loving tenderness. Now and then his face lights up with pleasure, especially as he recalls or applies a phrase, perhaps even an entire paragraph, of Freud or Lacan, the 2 masters for whom his esteem is boundless. As though recognizing a long-lost friend, he smiles and moves his lips with childish glee. His expression, so severe just a moment ago, softens like parched earth under a shower. His facial muscles slacken, his eyes grow moist and limpid. Freed from the constraints of classical calligraphy, his writing has become a confident Western scrawl, with strokes growing bolder and bolder, and loops ranging from dainty to tall, undulating and harmonious. This is a sign of his entry into another world, a world ever in motion, ever fascinating, ever new.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?